Welcome back, everybody. Inflation is easing and interest rate hikes have slowed, but people are still worried about getting through this year's economic challenges with their finances intact.
That's right. Brad Allen from Drake & Associates is here with some mid-year money moves, right, to get ourselves set up for a successful second half of the year. Good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good. Doing okay. Would be doing better if inflation kind of wasn't what it was, but
gas prices were a little cheaper.
Yeah, inflation's been one of those things where over the past couple of years since the pandemic, it's gone up so much. You know, you go to the grocery store, you go to the gas station, and you're like, oh my gosh, and inflation has always been there. So we work a lot in retirement planning at Drake & Associates. So we have to plan for inflation because things are just going to cost more 20 years from now than what they do now. But the last couple of years has just been so much.
It's significant. You're so right.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we're doing this segment today because so many people, when it's a New Year's resolution, right, to get their finances in order. But doing that mid-year check-in is so important because the economy changes, right? So you've got to change your moves.
Yeah, I mean, interest rates have gone up because inflation, right? So the Federal Reserve is trying to tame inflation with interest rates, and that can be tough because if you were planning on buying a house or a car in the last year, it's been a lot harder to do that than a couple of years ago. But if you're a saver, that's a great thing, right? CDs are making a lot more right now than they have over the last couple of years. So you just have to look at what makes the most sense in your overall plan right now.
We were talking earlier saying just kind of we're halfway through the year right now and like, oh, did I do what I was supposed to? Yes. Kind of having that check-in.
Yeah.
But then also it's like it's summertime. People are out enjoying their best lives. So why is it important right now to kind of take stock mid-year?
It's a great question. So this time of year and usually around the holidays, you spend a lot more because you're out doing stuff. You want to take traveling trips, those kind of things. But it is a good time to check in. And if you set goals at the beginning of the year and you said, okay, I'm only going to spend such and such dollars, are you on track for that? And if you're not, you still have 6 months left before the end of the year to get back on track. So some of the things to think about there is your budget. Did you put a budget together at the beginning of the year? And are you staying on track with that budget? But also saving. Are you putting money into a emergency fund? We saw during the pandemic how important it was to have that emergency fund where you had 6 months worth of expenses in case you lost your job or something like that happened, And then the investments. The investments are really important, not only thinking about today, but 30 years from now when I'm retired, how much am I going to have for retirement? That starts today. I always say retirement planning doesn't start in your 60s. It starts in your 20s when you're putting the money away for retirement,
We talk a lot about, revisiting our budget, redoing our budget. For people who are feeling kind of overwhelmed by that process, where do you begin?
Well, taking inventory, right? And just, either your bank account online will show you where you're spending money. And there's paper copies of a budget. There's online, there's apps on your phone. There's all sorts of things you can do. But just keeping track of where is that money going. I read an article that so many people have all these apps that they're paying for that they haven't used in years. So they have new apps now. I don't know how much that one costs, right? But that app will show you how much you're paying in all these other apps so you can start getting rid of some of those things. But even things like subscriptions, you can, maybe your telephone bill or those kind of things, you can negotiate those. You can get those down a little bit. So there's a lot of different things you can do from a budgetary standpoint to lower your expenses, but it really does start with sitting down, and it's never fun, right? But just putting it all on paper and seeing where's this money going.
And sometimes it's tough, but that's going to work out, in our benefit later on. So
right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you guys have multiple locations too, so it doesn't matter where you are. It's easy to kind of get help from Drake & Associates.
That's right. Mequon and Waukesha and now Grand Rapids, Michigan. So
oh, wow.
I don't think people want to drive that far.
Expansion. Take the car ferry. Well, thank you so much, Brad.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
You too.